The SIG Sauer P320. This is SIG's first polymer frame striker fire pistol, and to me it's been a little bit late in the game, but I'll tell you what they've come out with has been exceptional. This is something that I've really wanted to get a hold of ever since SIG released this pistol, because I knew it would be really good quality. You know, one of the things about SIG typically is that it has a pretty high bore axis. I'm a fan of low bore axis pistols. But one of the things about SIG is the quality is just so well executed that I just am a big fan of SIG regardless. Of course, to get things started, we're going to go ahead and safety check the pistol, and it is unloaded. It does come with two steel 17+1 round magazines for your 9mm, and of course that's in the free states. They do offer a 10 round magazine as well. This does come in 40 caliber, which has 14 rounds, 357 SIG, which is 14 rounds, and there is a 45 ACP version coming, and it'll hold 10 rounds. And this is all in the full-size version. The one great thing, the really cool thing about these pistols is that they are very modular. And we're going to look at that in a few minutes, but they have different frames and slides and barrels and caliber conversions for these pistols, which makes this really exceptional. One of the things I really like about this pistol is the trigger pull. And we're going to make sure, again, the gun isn't loaded. When you squeeze the trigger, it has a little bit of take up, and then it has a really nice, crisp snap. Reset is really quick. Trigger pull, take up, snap, reset. It's a really nice, quick reset. And then your trigger pull. Now, according to SIG, the trigger pull goes from anywhere from 5.5 pounds to 7.5 pounds. On the standard Glock, it's typically about 5.5 pounds. Putting this on my Lyman trigger gauge, it was just a little over 6 pounds. In fact, it was around the 6.5 pound mark. So it's still a very smooth, crisp trigger, even at 6.5 pounds. It belies the weight of the trigger. It's one of the really important things is not necessarily the weight. Now, you can have an excessive trigger pull weight, but the big thing is as long as it's crisp and it's consistent. And that's one of the things about this pistol. It's very consistent. There are some law enforcement models that will have a trigger safety, and they're also coming out for law enforcement that have a frame safety. And that's according to department specs, you know, or department requirements. Now, the frame is a really beautifully executed frame. And I'll tell you guys, I'm not a SIG fanboy, but SIG quality is just what it is. And so there's going to be a lot of adjectives here about the good quality of SIG. But one of the things also about this frame is it's very smooth finished. To me, it's more similar to the glass nylon filled polymers that are a little bit more rigid than your Glocks. And it really allows for very crisp executing, especially right here at the grip. And you'll notice it's a really fine grip texturing. It's definitely some kind of laser etching because of the way this feels in your hand. But it's not too aggressive, but it has a really great feel to it. Back on the back strap, front strap, which really, these are the two areas that you really need to concentrate on for really having a great grip on your pistol. But with that said, it has a thicker palm swell right here. So the gun really fits in the hand very well. And yet you have these areas right here that come together down this way, and it really allows for those fingers to come in and to be able to manipulate your trigger with ease. You know, that's one of the things about it. If you get too thick, your fingers coming around, and it can get a little bit uncomfortable. This is a very ergonomic pistol. I definitely recommend that if you're in a gun shop that has one of these, is just to get it out and put it in your hand and just feel the way this does in your hand. I mean, SIG, of course, the 226 is just a legendary pistol. And this is about the same size as far as the full-size version. Very similar as far as even the bore axis. But it has a totally different feel to it to me. In fact, I really like this better than the P226. Now, I know some of you guys that are 226 aficionados, which there are a lot of them out there, you might disagree. But for me and what I really like to shoot, this really fits the hand exceptionally well. It has the SIG nitron slide finish on it. And this penetrates the metal. It's very corrosion resistant, very wear resistant. I love the matte finish. To me, this really reminds me, and I don't know why exactly, but it reminds me more of the Spartan type Glock feel to it, the look to it. I guess because of the matte finish, the smoothness of the frame, it just really has that military. I mean, it looks like something that a special operator would be carrying just because of the way it looks. It does have front and rear serrations. It makes it really nice, of course, for press checks, which personally I like. The slide serrations are very finely executed. They're not very aggressive, but yet the cuts and the angles allow you to really get a good grip on that slide. It does have these really nice slide cuts that bring the slide down into more of an angle here, but it still is pretty squared off and it's pretty large. I think it's 1.4 inches in width. But what I really like about it is that it is pretty smooth on the side. You do have your takedown lever here, which does stick out just a little bit. But right here at the rear, everything is smoothed down. Not only is your slide stop on the right side, it's also on the left side. And of course, with no external safeties, it's really fully ambidextrous, except for your takedown lever. And really, you're not going to need that unless you have it out on the bench to take apart. So that's really not left or right-handed. It just happens to be on this side of the pistol. And the one thing is, the mag release right here, which is a nice triangular mag release, easy to get to, you can switch it to the other side. The slide lock, which is really nice, very reminiscent of the Glock, is actually brought back on the frame from the Glock, which is about right in this position. And I'm going to pull out a Glock to kind of compare it with, because it just seems to be one of the standards. It does have a really nice accessory rail. Now this again is the full-size frame. They do make a full-size, a carry frame, which is a little bit shorter frame, full grip, and then they have the compact, and then they have the subcompact. Now one thing you'll notice right away is there is no trigger safety, which, you know, the Glock style trigger safety, which has been really big with most of your striker fire pistols, with the little lever here. You don't have that. In fact, there are no external safeties at all, which is kind of unusual. I mean, when you look at it, you think, well, there's just not any, there's no decocker. Of course, it is a striker fire pistol. Now, but there are a number of safeties. It does have an internal striker safety. It has a disconnect safety, but it has a number of safety features, especially breaking the pistol down. One of the things about this pistol is you don't have to pull the trigger to be able to break the pistol down or to disassemble. In fact, you have to remove the magazine to disassemble the pistol. You can't even bring this, in fact, bringing the slide back, it won't even allow you to use the takedown lever. Also, of course, the slide has to be in the rear position for the takedown lever to engage as well. So we bring it all the way back, bring our takedown lever all the way around, and then release your slide stop, and the slide comes right off. Here we have a full-length guide rod, steel guide rod, and the flat coil spring, which I really like. The flat recoil spring really allows for good recoil management. I mean, it just seems to soften the gun. That's one of the things about this gun. It's a very soft shooting pistol. Of course, we have our linkless Browning design barrel. Very well executed. Now, one thing you'll notice is the cuts that are done into the slide. I mean, this is a deep cut on this side here, and then of course right here at the top of your slide. This is to relieve weight, and so it's made to be as lightweight as possible yet retain its strength. And here the pistol is fully field stripped. But now one of the really cool things about this pistol is it's not totally broken down. Take your slide stop right here, and of course we bring it all the way into this rear position, and then over here push through, and we're going to just remove our takedown lever. One of the cool things about the breakdown is that it is a toolless design. But if you want to remove this internal frame, and this is actually the receiver right here. This is a very modular system. This is what's considered the gun. This is what the ATF regulates. The rest of this stuff, you can order different parts. We can order different frames. We can order different slides, barrels, and different calibers for this same piece. Now that's really attractive to those that, number one, have to go through a lot of hoops to buy a pistol in the first place. There are a lot of states that require a lot of things, and this way you can buy one pistol and then have your full range gun, your duty sidearm, or your self-defense, home defense sidearm, and then you can go all the way down to whatever suits your concealed carry or however you like to carry. And especially in countries that you can only own one pistol, this is really a huge advantage. It is a stainless steel frame. It's just beautiful is what it is. The frame itself, very lightweight, and there are just no metal parts to this polymer frame, which is pretty wild. Now to return the receiver, you have to bring it up and then back down like this. Now one of the things you want to do is to make sure that it is in place. It can kind of come forward a little bit, just like so. One thing you'll notice is there's a little shelf right here, and so when you put your takedown pin in, you'll notice there's a little small cut that matches, and you'll need to make sure that is lined up. It takes a little bit of just working around to get it right at first. One little trick that I've noticed is when you line it up with that other hole, you want the lever to be at the front right here, and that seems to bring it into place. One thing you want to do is to bring this lever back when you get ready to return your slide. Lock it into place and you're done. Again, it's not going to come loose inadvertently, and the slide has to be brought back. Again, the magazine has to be inserted. And of course, in the frame, right here's your serial number, and it's showing through the frame right here in this cut. Now to show you a little bit of a size comparison, here's the Glock 23, and of course, it is unloaded as well. Even though this is more of the size of a Model 17, which really would just be your extended barrel, but this will show you some differences between any of the Glock pistols. The one big difference, though, is you're going to notice is that the slide comes above where the Glock slide goes. It's going to give you a little bit of a higher bore axis. It's going to give you a little more of a beaver tail here. But in the hand, you can see it's definitely going to be higher, which is typical for SIG. It's usually a pretty high bore axis, which typically causes more muzzle flip. But for this pistol, to me, it was very pleasurable to shoot at the range. One of the things too is you're going to have a little more slide thickness with the SIG. It's 1.4 inches, whereas your Glock is 1.1 inches. It does come with the 3-dot SIG Light sights, and these are night sights. I believe it does have an option to have just standard sights as well. The sights really show up well. We didn't get any real accuracy shots from this. Now this is a loaner from my good friend Mike, Mr. Guns and Gear. Great channel, you need to check it out. He let me borrow this pistol to do the review. In fact, I gave him a couple of pistols as well for him to review. We're getting ready to go to the NRA show up in Nashville 2015. I've really been dying to check out the SIG P320, and I think one of these is coming to the Suits compound in the near future. Now SIG does offer a holster that comes with it, and of course it comes with 2 magazines. I don't have the holster here with me. It's a pretty generic little holster. It's great to hold off until you can find a nice holster for it. Of course, with SIG's reputation, you're going to be able to find holsters and accessories for these guns. And again, with all the different frame options, with all the different slide conversion, barrel conversions for caliber, this is a highly versatile pistol. And if you're really looking for something that you really want to focus your energy on, I think this would be one, especially those who really like to just have one pistol that they trust. You know, you can go with your full size, your compact, your subcompact, and you'll be able to be shooting same ergonomics, same muscle memory, same controls with the same pistol, which I think is really incredible. So for me, I'm a big Glock guy. So I have my Glock 26, my Glock 19, my Glock 17, my Glock 34. With this, it's one pistol does all. And of course, you'll have to buy your slide and your frame and you do those things. but it keeps the paperwork down and it allows you to be able to do this much easier. Now, one of the big things about SIG is typically they're pretty expensive on the market. They are the higher end typically with most of your pistols. Of course, it's usually aluminum frame, hammer, double single action, and so it really causes a lot to produce really fine quality pistols like that. But the one great thing is that SIG is now really competing in the striker fire market. In fact, you'd think this pistol would be much more expensive being a SIG. But honestly, I was finding these online for around the $460 to $500 range. That really comes lower than your Glock pistol, which to me is exceptional. And so this is a really great option for those, even on a budget, and still having the SIG quality. You can put a lot of confidence in that. The SIG P320, thumbs way up. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. And the first thing we're going to do is, this is a really good aid to felt recoil with that flat, the flat slide to be able to return your slide. But this pistol is fully ambidextrous. Now with your slide release, now this pistol is ambidextrous, but the one thing you have to do if you, so this pistol is fully ambidextrous if you take your magazine release. I definitely have been dying to check out the SIG P320.
Perfect. We'll get a few of you.
Man, this thing looks like something out of Terminator.